Hello, my name is Hognevik. I'm the Chief Product Developer in Ecology. And today I will, together with Eric Alexander Richter, talk about collagen, why and when. So this is another hour in our health conversation lessons. And today we will then focus on collagen and the importance this substance and the product have in the body. So, Eric Alexander, it's a pleasure to have you as a part of the team also today. So
Yes.
now I leave the introduction to you, and then we see how far we can come in teaching each other and the listeners about the importance of collagen.
Well, collagen, basically, the name says it all. It's the glue that keeps us, all the parts together. So without collagen, we just would fall apart. There was actually a certain disease. If you look at the skin, and if the two layers of the skin are not well connected, then literally your outside skin, the epidermis, will just literally peel off. That's not very good, obviously. That makes you very sensitive for infection. But let's say we have a normal functioning collagen. Let's say now what happens over the time. So we will repeat a little bit part of the last month and focus a little bit on the collagen today. So here you can see, two hands with probably 70 or 80 years of difference. And you can see the young skin is very clean and has like an even tone, whereas the old one with all the brown spots has a lot of sugar particles in there, stick together with the collagen, the aging spots, and it lost a lot of the collagen and of the elastin. And the collagen basically goes away little by little over the years. But obviously the question is, why does it go away? And can we reverse the process, or can we at least start to stop the process of this aging? And obviously aging is much more than just loss of collagen.
But Eric, then what you say is that when we are born, in fact, we have a lot of collagen in all our cells, and that also means that we must, from the nature, have some kind of factory producing this collagen. Is that true? And is this factory more or less damaged as we grow older?
Yeah, well, that's a fact. If you're young, you have collagen producing cells. So collagen is not a cell on its own. It's also mostly not in cells. It's what we literally call the extracellular matrix. So it connects organs. It is a part of the bone of the skin, but it's a connection, and it's specific cells. We call them fibroblasts, who produce collagen. But these fibroblasts over time become a little bit lazy. They're not activated enough because we think once we get older, we should stop moving. And then these fibroblasts start to fall asleep and they become fibrocytes. And then they just hang out there. In the case something happens, you get a wound, and then they become full active again. But until then, they don't do much unless you feed them with the right nutrients. And it's absolutely important. We always use these circles of good food, good exercise, and the right nutrients. And if you simply don't use the right exercise, then there is no stimulation. It is like the bone.
Yeah,
bone
and and this is exactly what we had talked about also previously, that we are born with a fantastic machinery, but if we do not do the right actions in life, then this quality of the machinery is dropping extremely fast. And when we are talking about the production, the factory producing collagen in the body, we can then keep the speed of that factory if you do some of the advices you are talking about. But even then, it's nice to give some end products to the body, so it has something to work with. So please continue. This is fascinating.
Yeah. And the fact is, see, we have lots of collagen when we're young, and that's when we are growing. And we also have a lot of elastin fiber. Now, elastin fiber production from the same fibroblast, because that's a really very interesting little tiny factory, that goes down after about age 25 to 30. And then it is very difficult to maintain this elastin. Remember, we spoke about the K2 and the function there. So that goes way beyond arteries and just blood, bone. But the collagen goes down. This what you here see is the average. And I remember a couple time health talks ago, I explained the average versus the optimum. The fact is that the average person of 60 lost already about 60% of the collagen. That's not the optimum. There's no need for it. If I measure the amount of collagen I have in my skin, it is like almost the same as when I was like 30. But for somehow, if you do not stay physical active, then you have a problem. And of course, there is another point we already pinpointed last time. That is this, best of all of us, we do the blood test. And people then basically say, yeah, you'll test the index and the ratio. But for customers, that doesn't say much. What you could say here, and I'll show that in the next slide, is how too much of omega-6, especially when it's oxidized, can activate something that's called inflammation. Okay, inflammation actually, on the long run, then becomes aging. Aging is getting older, but in what state? And does your aging go year by year, or is it actually speeding up the process? So the concept of healthy aging is slowing the aging process, that in the next 20 years, you will age maybe only 10 years. But some people have the wrong food, drink too much alcohol, a lot of sugar, no physical exercise, and within the same 20 years, their biological age may go up with 30 years. Well, that's the difference between general aging and healthy aging. So if you have too much inflamed tissue, because like you have overweight, or you have too many pro-inflammatory substances in these fats, the adipocytes or adipoblasts are fat cells. So these fat cells release certain cytokines and adipokines, but they're made from whatever the fat quality is. So if the fat quality is like the rancid omega-6 sunflower or soy oil, then these become very pro-inflammatory. And if there is too much pro-inflammatory, it's the balance. You could say that a little bit like the ratio, what we test, you get a process that's called aging. That's the aging process. And that leads to insulin resistance, which will then lead to more fatty tissue, which will then lead to more cytokines. So this is like an ongoing circle. And then this will lead to cardiovascular disease, to muscle loss, to kidney disease, to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, dementia, and stuff like that. Whereas the opposite, let's say I take plenty of omega-3, I correct the balance, and I stay physical active. So the cane goes away. We'll just go to the gym, walk in the forest, go swim, take a hike, run, do whatever we can. And now the muscles start to produce myokines, myo for muscle. And these substances are anti-inflammatory. And as long as you don't run like a marathon 3 times a week, and this is really good. So instead of a sedentary lifestyle with the wrong foods, now you become very active with using the muscles, and now you have a anti-inflammatory substances will get, the majority of what controls aging. And now I actually slow down the aging process. So this 22-to-1, basically, you could say this is a marker in which speed people are aging. So it kind of predicts at not exactly what age, but how much earlier you will get your age-related diseases. As of people of age 75, 95% has them. And you have control by getting the 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 even, raising the index, changing this whole program on the left side, and you can dramatically slow down the aging process. And the healthy aging speed can be half of your passport age, and that of course postpones problems.
And this is of course everything is connected with everything, but what you say is that for every cell in the body to keep on with the activity, we are dependent upon to use the body, and the omega-3 we have talked about, to have an not an pro-inflammatory, but a rather calm situation in the body. And then it comes with this fantastic collagen that the factory, the fibroblast, is producing it all the time. But even then, the factory will decline in activity over some time. And that is why when we are talking about collagen and the product we will talk about more, it's to help the factory, even with some small parts of the molecule, that they can glue it together and then keep on to have the same outcome later on. But please continue, because this is the collagen is so important for all the cell functions, and you have started that extremely good now.
So now here you can say I changed the chart, the index at to 12% and the ratio into 1.1. If you stick around these kind of numbers, the whole aging process goes down. Like the numbers you saw before, you can take collagen, but the breakdown then is probably faster than the build up. So once you have these higher numbers, now you can start to build up the skin, because if the index is that high, that's not just for the red blood cells, it's also for the fibroblast. So now the nutrients can go in so much easier, and very important, the waste materials can go out. So now if you zoom in to the skin, okay, I have this little tiny model here, or a back one there behind me. You don't see it actually, but see the epidermis, the outer layer, that's only 0.1 millimeter, like here, not there in the and soles of your feet, but that's only 0.1. And then the whole dermis on average in the skin is only like 1 millimeter. That's it. So once, and now this is very simplistic drawing, because collagen fibers actually go into the other direction. But and here you can even see the hairs have little tiny muscles. But if you're young, you have all these collagen fibers in two sort of different layers. We have the what we call the papillary layer, which is connected to the top layer here, the epidermis, whereas the reticular layer, that's where most of the collagen is, and that sticks to the hypodermis. That's even the layer below. So here you can, this is like the cross section of the skin I have here. Okay, so here is the muscle. Okay, that's where you make the moves with your face, like I do all the time. And then this is like another collagen layer. That's where this one, the hypodermis, is connected. And you can see a little bit, I showed that with the next image, these connections, and then this is just the dermis. So if you look the dermis goes here, the papillary, where you have a lot of the connections, like these pepils. That's why you can see this. The capillaries are so important. If the red blood cells are perfectly in shape, and that's for the same, okay, then there is much more oxygen and nutrients there. Whereas the reticular layer, which is here, the dermis, okay, that's the lower part. That's where is the strength, okay? And you have nerves and sensors, and then there was lots of collagen and elastin. But once we get older, the elastin is the first to disappear, especially if you get sun damage, and then the collagen go little by little. But I will show later also these fibroblasts. So what you see here is like the network. And this is where the fibroblasts walk around like some sort of a Spider-Man, I would say, and they kind of check out. And if you're physical active and like you pull on your skin, or you do stretches, or you start to work out, then these fibroblasts are checking these fibers. Let's see, with the next sheet you can even see better. Here are these fibers. And every single one here is about 5 molecules thick. These are microfibers, like you can see the single ones on the left top image. Okay, and these microfibers then merge together with the help of vitamin C and sulfur and some minerals and like silicon. They get together to fibers, and fibers then stick together with bundles. So this is the most mature one. Okay, but this is still in the skin. You can see they go all kind of directions. If you think about your Achilles heel, then you have a lot of very thick fibers just only in one direction. And then within the tissue, maybe you can recognize this one here. It goes into 3 pieces. This is the elastin fiber. And then the elastin fiber, if you pull the skin and you let it go, it pops back. That's at least the idea. But once you get older, it becomes less effective in doing so. But let's not get one thing wrong. Some people think collagen is only in the skin, or actually only in the face. But collagen is everywhere. If you don't have collagen in your blood vessels, you'll be in serious trouble. Okay, so also blood vessels have collagen, and so they must have fibroblasts. So these fibroblasts are everywhere. You can find them in the bone, in the arteries, in the skin, in the jaw, in the teeth. They're just, so collagen is literally very, very important building block. So here is your artery, okay, and you can see this is 3 layers thick. Now this could be like the aorta or something. That's the tunica intima. They have kind of nice names, but you can see, look here, the smooth muscle cells, they also have collagen fibers, elastic fibers, okay, more elastic, more collagen fibers in the different layers.
And if you just stop a little with that picture, is that then we see that when we talk about high blood pressure and arterial stiffness, it's not only calcification and calcium generation in the arteries that is important, but also if you have less and less function of the fibroblast and less function that is dependent upon collagen and elastin and so on, then we also get these stiff arteries, and that again is a risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. So you will talk more about it, but also connected. So it's not only calcium that makes the artery stiff, it's also lack of these kind of molecules.
And you have seen let me go here again. This is the collagen, okay? Now, if this collagen somehow got connected with sugar, okay, and then this collagen loses the elasticity because they got like crosslinks, they got what we call AGEs, advanced glycation end products. At that moment, this elastin is not like single fibers, but they're gonna kind of stick together with the sugars. Now, think about it, what happens if you do the same in the arteries. So what you just mentioned, the atherosclerosis, is part of it is oxidized cholesterol. It is the calcification due to the lack of the K2, and it is the aged collagen what stick together, what loses the elasticity, and that's another one. So the fibroblast is not just producing collagen; it's also removing collagen. But this should be all very well balanced. And look at it. This is just in the artery. You find collagen type 1, which you see mostly in the skin normally, but also type 4, type 15, type 18, type 6, type 3. So we have about 26 different types of collagen. But the majority of the collagens we have is the type 1, which is in the skin and in the bone. That's the identical thing. So if you can see the hand and it's lacking the collagen, you might very likely will also not have sufficient amount of type 1 collagen, what we have in our product. So the collagen for the skin absolutely improves the bone as well. Now, this
but when you talk about different types of collagen, of course, into the market, we have quite a lot of different product qualities also there. Will you say anything now why or which kind of product we should pick if we should help the body to make the best collagen?
Well, the majority of the collagens we have in the body is the type 1 and the type 3. So on the left and all the way on the right. So that's the skin, that's the bone, that is within a lot of the arteries and such. So from the fish collagen, that's what we use as a resource. And I'll explain later how that works. Okay. The fish collagen, that is basically a very, very good resource, a very pure and clean resource of collagen type 1. Now, if you want to improve your cartilage, like this purple part here, or the ones in the rib cage or anywhere, the cartilage, then the type 1 will do, but a type 2 collagen will do better, honest. Okay? So for bone and the majority of what we use it for, the type 1 and 3, that's kind of the same. The building block, the sequence of the amino acids is identical. It is just the type 1 has more crosslinks, so that is stronger. It's more mature compared to the type 3. But again, it is way too detailed to go in all the different functions. It is just important with age, stay physical active. That is the important thing. And if you keep on running and bouncing and do whatever you can with your skin and go, for good treatments, plus you supply the body, then every time you do so, these little funny cells who crawl in these networks of collagen, they can, even if you break a bone, then the collagen form, what is normally residing in the dermis, in the skin, can then move into the bone and get what we call differentiated into a osteoblast to help fixing the bone. So that's interesting to see. But going running is the best you can do for your skin. Sounds crazy, but it is. And going running in full sun, you shouldn't do too long, but it's still good to get sun, because you need the vitamin D3 and many other options as well. So to get this whole factory active, you need this. Here is the fibroblast. It could also be a fibrocyte if it's sleeping, but in here you can also see them. But if you do not activate them, you just fall asleep, they become fibrocytes. So not being physical active makes your body age, because the fibroblasts stop cleaning up old collagen and don't build the new type. And that's why this kind of exercises is good. Just don't be too much in the middle of the road, because you may need a lot of extra collagen for the fix of that.
And we can also add that it is allowed also to walk fast, but at least make a little more activity than you like to have. Because when you give a pressure to the body, it has a lot of good stimuli with these kind of feedback mechanisms that is important for the fibroblast, as we are talking about most today.
Also for the skin and for the bone. These two ladies here are doing the perfect thing. That's the bouncing effect. And the day you think I'm getting too old to do this rope jumping, that's when you start to age. Just keep on doing it. Swimming, though, has not much effect on the strength of the bone or the fibroblast, because the water takes over the gravity, so you're not getting this bouncing effect. That's good for many, many things, but not so much for the bone strength. If you go swimming, this is an interesting thing, use it or lose it, right? If people go into space and they get back even within 1 month, they may have lost half of their bone mass, because they don't need the gravity, and so the body starts to break down and they don't get motivated to rebuild. But if you do this kind of physical exercise, it's absolutely the best. And you can do it in the sun. It is absolutely great to have sun. Just don't overdo it. But still, though, we know that old people, then we identify what we call elastosis. That is the loss of elastin fiber. What doesn't look good, but on average, those people live for 2-3 years longer, because they may have a slightly higher risk for skin cancer, but all the other risk factors in the body of skin cancer, high blood pressure and multiple sclerosis and all that, this all goes down. So you lose a bit on the skin, but you have a massive, massive benefit in all the other particles. But just don't overdo it. Combine with collagen, with the oil, so you don't have an over response on the sun, so you can keep the skin nice. That's what happened. Smoking, however, every single cigarette breaks down about 35 milligrams of vitamin C. And without vitamin C, it is absolutely and completely impossible to rebuild the collagen. That is why people who smoke a lot age faster, because they stop the fibroblast. They don't do anything at all. There is no way to do it. Same with eating tons of sugar. Then you get these you lose all the flexibility in the skin. Now, remember, we spoke about the inflammaging. Now, I have an image here of a lady. Okay, there she is. And this is before any supplements. And then she started to use, this is a special camera who kind of can look on and into the skin. And then she just used from here to there, that's about 9 months difference. She started to use the pure Arctic oil, because the beautician and this clinic, they say, without the oil, we don't do any treatments, because only if we can stop the inflammation, we can reverse the process. So this is just oil. She didn't even start on collagen. You can already see a huge difference. Okay. But always understand, if you think I want more collagen and you inject it, that's strange collagen for the body. So it will either put connective tissue around it, or it will just break it down and you have to repeat the treatment. This is not like the collagen you want. This is like just a filler. And we also have to understand that on the top layer here, if you have skin problems like this is no collagen problem. This is an epidermal, so the top layer of the skin, especially today where people wash their hands over and over and over again. They just remove the fatty layer. And here is the biggest drama. By using these special alcohols to clean their hands, that's not killing viruses. It just opens the skin. It takes out the fats, the cholesterol, the squalene, and all that, and the ceramides, so viruses actually can penetrate the skin easier. Plus, you remove the cholesterol from the skin, and so you block the ability to build vitamin D3 from the sun in the skin. Okay, so understand what we're doing, because if it's still too cold, we need the face and the hands to build a little bit of D3, and it's even going to take a bit longer, like maybe until April before we can do it well. But this is just an irritation on the skin, has nothing to do with collagen. So rubbing in a collagen topical application, utterless nonsense, because I don't have collagen on the outside. It is in the layer inside. I may have 4 or 5 layers of epidermis here, okay? But the collagen should be in the second and in the third layer. So rubbing collagen on top is totally nonsense. It can never penetrate. Only fat-soluble ingredients like vitamin A, retinol, or like a special liposomal transport of vitamin C can go through this layer, but the collagen never can. So
and you know that there are creams where you then have ingredients that can stimulate the fibroblast that is in the epidermis, and then it can make sense to have something on the surface. But again, there are so many products out there. So now we are about to move into why we need collagen and help the fibroblast and the factories to make the right manufacturing end products. But
exactly true. If you take the retinol on the top of the skin, it needs to go all the way through the epidermis to reach the dermis. That's where the fibroblast resides, or actually fibrosides. And then the retinol will activate them back into fibroblast, and then they will start produce collagen if you feed them with vitamin C and collagen. Now here you can see all different kinds of proteins and fats, okay? But there is some collagen in the meat here, though. The connections here, there is some fat and some collagen and some fibers in there. Most of it doesn't have much collagen, and even the skin of the fish is removed, which is a pity, because that's where is the highest amount of collagen. We'll just dish it away, you know? So these are good fats, maybe. They're a little bit too much. This is probably farmed fish. But now you can see, and this is an interesting part, Hogne. All the proteins, but the sequence of the amino acids determines what kind of a protein it is. So I want to have skin, then the best is to take the proteins from the skin. So don't throw them away. Now, the closest thing you can make at home is what we call bone broth. That is, you'll get the bone from like a bovine animal, you put it to make a soup, and then with a little some apple vinegar or stuff like that, and then you will extract lots of the minerals, and you will get all the fiber, and then the gelatin on top. Don't go away. That's what you want. Okay, that is where some good fats, but especially the collagen, because the sticky stuff on top of it, that's exactly what is in the bone and what's in the skin.
Yeah. So this and then to continue a little, because now you show that we have different nutrients that are important to give the right building bricks in the body, and when people are building muscles and are building the right cells, they think that okay, then we can take just this protein powder, pure amino acids, and then the body will take them whatever and then make the best end products. But perhaps it's not quite that easy. You can say a little, why do we pick these proteins and why this sequence of amino acids to make the right work in the body?
Basically, the body can decide that it's on its own, but it is enormously useful if you offer already the right sequence there. And I will get into that kind of detail. So this is what you can make at home really good. I tell people the best way to do it is like this. And then they kind of, after 3, 4, 5 days, say, okay, this is a little bit too much. But see, our parents used to cook the soup all the way like this, always. So they never had these joint problems and like that. And today, all the soups come from some funny package. And then we just miss these nutrients. Because look here, this is a bone. This is like a broken bone, but it is not like broken. It's like a micro crack. And here you can see some collagen fiber. Then here's a new one growing, and there is another one. Okay. And there's already a bridge there, and this is already mineralized. And by like these jumping exercises, the bouncing effect, now you will activate, you will make little tiny micro cracks, and then this will speed up the renewal of the bone. And then all these new fibers, you can exactly see what is here. This is in the skin, but now you can see one here in the bone. And now remember, you remember, of course, we always speak about osteocalcin. So if you have the minerals, the calcium, the magnesium, the vitamin K2, the D3, of course, for the absorption. So the K2 will activate the osteocalcin molecule. And that's the second most abundant organic fiber material in the bone. So first is collagen, second is osteocalcin, but it requires K2, whereas the collagen requires vitamin C. Once this is done, you can completely rebuild the bone. So you can go from how to build or how to build back. Okay. So here is what you can see here. This is a collagen molecule. This is actually maybe even the wrong name, because this is just a sequence of amino acids. And this is like, a collagen. It's a triple helix. It's like the DNA is a double helix. It's like this curvy kind of sequence of amino acids. Okay. So there's 3 of them. And if you take these 3 apart, you get single ones, and these are then built from different amino acids. Now, there is 20 different amino acids. I don't want to try to not make it too complicated, but you can see there is a very small one, and then we get a big one, another big one, and small and big. Now, because there is very small ones, the glycine, and then you have a lot of proline and hydroxyproline and arginine and alanine and all those. But the small one, just because of the different charges of the amino acids, the other ones are bigger, so they bend only to make space, and that's how you can get this nice triple helix. That's a story on its own. But this fibroblast is now, or osteoblast in this case, is producing this molecule that get twisted together. Now it is like excreted from the fibroblast into the extracellular matrix. It gets connected with the osteocalcin. That brings in these tiny minerals. It's what we call hydroxyapatite, but not so important. And this is how you then start to mineralize these collagen protein fibers. And now they become fibrils, and then they have a very good organization. And then they get to see there's blood vessels, everything is there. So what?
But Eric, if I now should take on my doctor hat, my medical doctor hat, I will say this is nonsense, because to say that we eat something, and then we take this collagen that we eat, and then say that these small particles then really will go into and make final collagen fibers in the body, that is beyond my knowledge. And when we are trying to explain how collagen works, these criticism comes up over and over again. So
yeah, I understand that part.
Do we have some good arguments to say that Dr. Hogner, you are wrong? What should you say?
It is many doctors believe this, and I understand part of it, because our stomach and the pancreas are supposed to produce acids and enzymes to break it down, but then the body is also very smart. It won't make stuff smaller than necessary. So this is how we build bones. Okay. So if I take one of my many books on collagen, okay, that's kind of a nice one. And here you can find all these 26 different types of collagen and how the structures are built and how this works and all that. So there's a lot of research. Actually, if you just look at the the collagen and the fibroblasts and that on skin. This is probably one of the biggest books I ever got on it. That's the textbook of the aging skin. And it will tell you, these are 1,100 pages on studies and stuff. And this will literally tell you the details. And the detail is this, okay? Now, this is our product. That's the collagen powder. But to be very honest, this is not collagen anymore. Because you're totally right. If I would just eat collagen, it's probably going to be broken down in the gut and in my intestinal tract. And then before it get absorbed, so just single amino acids. But what is done here is following. So they take the collagen from the fish skin. They grind it down to a very fine powder. But that's still way too big because these molecules are very small. So this is then a collagen molecule, one single one. It's about 1,000 amino acids, okay? Now this is going to be taken apart, the denaturation, okay? And then that's still too big. Now I have the 3 single helixes, and then this is very important. These were the enzymatic cleavage, because if I use a general enzyme, what just breaks down proteins, all the doctors are right. But these fibroblasts, they produce very unique enzymes. We call them MMPs, matrix metalloprotease enzymes. So it's the extracellular matrix. So the fibroblast breaks things down as much as necessary in the case of an inflammatory disease or a problem. But it never makes them smaller than about 3 amino acids. So what we then call molecular weight is not too small and not too big, because the logic will say, why wouldn't I just give the single amino acids? But single amino acids don't have a skin-specific property. These things, the little things with the glycine, the hydroxyproline, and such as we have in our product, because it's broken down with the right enzymes, so it's skin-specific enzyme, then will automatically, they won't be broken down even smaller. The process just will be reversed. And in these funny books, you can find tons of study how this worked, aging skin and what is this, nutrition for healthy skin. You can find anything on the collagen and how eating it. But you remember, I used to have my own company in Nutri-Cosmetics. And so I bought like batches of 1,000 kilograms of collagen. And at one time, the company I bought it from, they made a mistake. So I got back to them and says, I have this ultrasound scanner to check the skin. And I can always say, if people use this product after so many months, this is what will happen. And with that specific batch I got from you, it didn't happen like that. It just wasn't that good. And then they had to agree, and I already knew what was wrong. That is, they used the wrong enzymes to break it down. And then you get a whole different type of molecules, and they never do the job. So the lack of collagen can be reversed, but you need to take collagen, what comes from skin and not from anywhere else, first. The best is fish. Fish is about twice as effective compared to bovine, to like from a cow, the skin, you can use that as well, but you need about 10 grams a day to have similar effect as what we do today. So that's why I prefer fish, and the fish is also less risk for any kind of mad cow diseases or stuff like that. But doctor,
yeah, and
let me prove it.
Yeah,
here you can see the difference between this one and that one. What is this? 10/5/22. There's a couple of months in between. This is from I don't see, this is the time. This is the 5th month. No, it's difficult to see. I'm not sure if that's correct.
But it's to the right on the figure. You see then the skin after with collagen, and then you see it's a thicker skin and more solid skin.
Yeah,
and I think it has been a long time that people have experienced that their skin has been better, the bone has been stronger by using collagen. But the mechanism and to understand it, it's a limited number of people really understanding the mechanism. But if we try to use the picture, is that if we are putting together a car, then it's much more easy to take prepared parts of the car and put them together to have the final product, instead of starting up with just some metal pieces. Because if you have made it upfront, then it's more easy to have a good production. And I guess this is what you are talking about, that the source in the food is important. And then when you talk about the fish collagen as an excellent source for what we have, and then you come to the ecology anti-aging product, because it has been a lot of thinking also behind that. And that is the best building brick we should have, for example, for the picture you showed there.
Yeah, I think this is the way it is. And honestly, if I see patients who have damage, I will tell them, take higher amounts of collagen. Take 2 or 3 of the sachets like the first month, especially if people have burns or a broken bone or any other stuff. Something went wrong, I always tell them, take a double or triple doses. And especially to this month, where we have 1 more month with the 34 euros per month, you can add 2 or 3 boxes if you like to, and then just take them out next month if you don't need them at that high level. Just then stick with 1 box per month, and you have the maximum benefit for the lowest price possible, and you can use it forever. So about 4 to 5 grams a day is a very good maintenance. But if you want to, rebuild, do some anti-aging, and take some process you have lost during the last couple of years, it's good to build up stronger. The gut, remember we had the gut-brain connection, one of the seminars a while ago, like last year. Again, the gut has a layer, the basal lamina, and this layer also is made from collagen. So you have fibroblasts in the gut. Taking the collagen will repair the gut, will stop the leaky gut, and it will really help you to grow a healthier body in everywhere and any direction.
Yeah, and I will say that now you listening to us today are lucky, because we know that in ecology we have more than 50,000 people all over Europe using our pure Arctic oil, the fantastic omega-3 product, every day. But of these 50,000, it's less than 3,000 of you using collagen. And if you have listened to what Eric Alexander Richter has been talking about today, we see that the starting point to have a good effect of collagen is to use the omega-3 to take away the inflammatory position of the body. So in fact, if you then buy and use the collagen product, the starting points that you can build together, that is important for all the cells, you will have double, triple effect of the collagen, and you will look beautiful, and you will be happy, and you will look like Alexander after a short time.
Yeah, the health is I think is really important, and a healthy skin like automatically looks beautiful, where the opposite is not necessarily true. And you can also just look, if you zoom into the skin, but again, it's important for every part of the body. You need the omega-3, otherwise the inflammation doesn't stop. If your pro-inflammatory status is higher than anti, automatically you will break down more tissue than you can rebuild. So first, that's the good thing. The 50,000, 60,000 people using the omega-3 at least slowed down the breakdown of the collagen. But now they need to understand that they need the D3, which supports the inflammatory response, and needs to the K2, because the vitamin K2 fixes, sort of demineralizes the elastin fibers in the skin, but also in the lungs and in the blood vessels. So the K2 takes the calcification and restores the elasticity. So now I have good transport, I have a clean skin, and now this collagen actually can improve skin, nails, hair, bone, joints, gut, anything, as long as your omega-3 values are correctly, and now you have the maximum benefit. And I think, it's like another euro per day, maybe, but it is a very good investment in more health for everywhere in your body. And you can see, even in my age, if I make some funny step on my mountain bike and I make, like a salto somewhere in the forest, and yes, it hurts, but it is repaired very fast because I don't have a lack of collagen. And so many people do have that.
So Thank you, Eric, and thank you for all listening to us tonight. It has been a pleasure to be together with you, and I'm looking forward to see a lot of happy, strong, and beautiful people when we are able to meet physically again. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.